Welcome to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Council. I'm Terissa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It is my pleasure, my honor to facilitate this event every single month. I think we do it on the third Tuesdays. We typically do it at the community center, but we are actually on location today at the beautiful Port St. Lucie Botanical Gardens. Yeah, it's the same backdrop. We came all the way down here for the... Yes, but the lighting was not good, so this is a professional show, Councilwoman. I want to introduce my co-host this morning.
Speaking of professional, not.
Please welcome to the show, of course, Councilwoman Stephanie Morgan is our PSL representative today. It's always nice to be with you. I like it when you do the show with me. It's usually at least lively, right?
At least.
Very good.
The minimum.
We, just so you all know, we have a very packed show today, but we want to start with the Councilwoman and kind of hear from her what's going on in the city.
Well, a lot of it's we're going to talk about the park, the Pioneer Park. This is the Port District.
Of Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie. And as you came in, you saw the two homes that were being worked on. Hopefully they're being worked on.
They are.
The historical homes, which Terissa is started the historic, well, I don't know, but
well, history is she has been the chair and she's currently the co-chair again for the Port St. Lucie Historical Society. Who will be operating those homes.
Right.
Well, the one home for sure.
And if you want to volunteer, feel free. Right? Yep. You're going to work on volunteers.
Yes.
And there's a brick if you want to buy a brick and support them. And it's really cool. It's going to be really cool. And there's even some things from my childhood that are going to be in the historical museum. Believe it or not, yes,
You donated some things?
39. Yeah. Yes. I've been here since 1962. 62?
Yeah, you grew up here.
62. Yep. And we were incorporated in 61. But we still were known as Fort Pierce at the time. But anyway, yes, my mom actually donated a piano that she had and purchased in the 50s. And
is the piano going to fit in there? Is the piano going to fit in there? Those houses are small. They were lodges.
No. This is an old upright. This is one of the old pianos, and I took piano lessons on it.
Good. Well, we're going to talk to Patricia Christensen, later, the co-chair.
And then we have the park with the playground.
Yep.
And a restaurant. Whoa,
do we
on
have
the water.
An agreement with the restaurant? They're coming?
Hasn't that been completed? Yes, P3.
Oh, Jen Davis is going to come and talk to us about that.
She's going to give us all that. But there's going to be little pods out in the area, too, where you can go get a burger and a dog or a pizza or some, whoa, that's $20. Some ice cream, just all different things that you can go around and get, or you can just go over to the restaurant and have you an adult beverage and sit and watch the river.
The port, which, know, it is a port because if you put your boat in the water there, you can get to the ocean. It's going to take a minute.
Oh, yeah, it'll take you a while.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Yep, so that is our port. Yes. All right, very good. What else is going on? City Council's been lively lately.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Okay, we don't have to.
Go back and watch the meetings. It has been lively. It's interesting. It's a passion, and what can I say? A lot of new things, a lot of big things coming to Port St. Lucie. We already know about the Southern Grove and the jobs corridor and everything that's come out there or is continuing. And I hear there's a couple of big things coming soon. And
oh, really? Oh, good. In the jobs corridor?
Well, I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you.
But we're out of land.
Well, actually, I don't even know, so I can't even tell you if I wanted to tell you.
All right.
They haven't told me yet.
Okay.
But there's more coming out there. No, there's 200 acres left.
Okay.
250, something like that. But Cheney Brothers is almost ready.
Yeah. Warren Newell.
The Amazon is pumping out the packages. I'm getting a couple today. The one on Midway has been delayed, as everybody knows. They wanted to get the last mile one up and running first.
Okay.
So, which was more important, so you can get your package the same day.
Yeah.
Or the next day. I still don't know how they do it.
I don't either.
I don't get it.
They have to have so much stuff on stock, but those are big warehouses, so I guess it makes sense. It tracks.
It's weird.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay, very good. Anything else we need to make sure that everybody knows before we get into our guests? We're going to talk to quite a few people today, and we're going to cover a lot of ground.
I'm not sure. I'm waiting to hear from everybody that's here because I like to talk about what the people want to talk about. They don't want to hear what I want to talk about.
Good.
I always like to mingle and mix and
Answer questions. Answering questions is my favorite thing to do, too. Well, we will do that after we speak with our guests today.
Okay.
And then what we usually tell people is
are you
that
telling me to
we'll
leave?
No.
I can because I'm out of coffee.
Oh, we can handle that. But realistically, so what we'll do is we tell people that this is a free event. It's open to the public. We even throw in Danish and coffee, courtesy of Steamworks, right there on US 1 in Fort Pierce, or in Port St. Lucie, sorry. I do a lot of shows. You know that. In Port St. Lucie.
It's still St. Lucie County.
Yes. For me, it's all the same. We're the St. Lucie County
We
Chamber.
are one big happy family.
We are.
Sorta.
And if you have questions and you want to talk, in a more informal setting, come on down so that you could do that after we get done with the taping. That's typically how we do that. Sound good?
I'm good.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to start with FP&L, I think.
Sure.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll start
FP&L
with
it is.
FP&L, and then we'll talk about the port and the historical homes, which is
Okay.
really exciting.
Sounds good. We'll be right back, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Council. I threatened that we may have a very full show today, so we are off and running with our first guest, and it is Ron Edgecomb, and he is from Florida Power and Light. If you couldn't tell from the official Florida Power and Light issued shirt, I love how they dress you guys all the same or similarly.
It's a nice color, though.
Yeah, it is a very nice color. Blue is very, very becoming for most people. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you came today to talk to us about what? I mean, Florida Power and Light is such a huge part of everybody's day-to-day life, but there's different aspects to it. And you are a project manager for what?
Yeah, so good morning. So yes, I am a project manager for our Storm Secure Underground program. It's just one of several kind of hardening initiatives that we have as part of our FPL Storm Protection Plan, which was approved by the Public Service Commission. Mm-hmm. And essentially what we're doing is we are undergrounding the overhead laterals in our residential and neighborhood areas. And, for those who don't really know what a lateral is, the simplest way of explaining it is these are the overhead power lines that you're seeing in the front or either the rear of your homes. And essentially what we're doing is
Putting them underground. Because that's the safest place in a storm, right? Like everybody here is I know what they're all thinking right now, and it is, when are you doing my neighborhood?
Yeah. So as you can imagine, it's a great opportunity that we're providing great benefits for our customers. And essentially the way it works is we're looking at the kind of most heavily affected laterals, and there's a system that we do kind of based off criteria that we have to follow, which is approved by the Public Service Commission. And the goal is for us to underground in areas where it makes sense. And it's going to be a great benefit for our customers. And our program is just, we're gearing up, and we just have a bright future with it. So based on that criteria is how we'll go through the areas and move through.
And is there anything you can tell, like, is it hospitals, neighborhoods adjacent to hospitals? Is it neighborhoods that have been hardest hit, lose power the most, maybe the oldest infrastructure? Is that sort of all of the criteria you're looking at?
Yeah, so the three main criteria that we're looking at is, one, we're looking to see which of those laterals have had the most interruptions due to vegetation, because as you know, it's one of the great things we have but it's one of the things we have to constantly deal with is the trees and vegetation. The second kind of item that we look at is during hurricanes, how did this particular area respond during the hurricane season? And then lastly, we're looking at just the day-to-day operations, because it's important, there's a lot of business, there's a lot of things that we're doing, so it's important for us to have that day-to-day operations, and we're looking at historically how they performed, and all that together is how we're looking to see which areas that we want to really start at and work our way from there.
So we're obviously in the city of Port St. Lucie in St. Lucie County. Is there any area that you can say it's happening for us right now?
Yeah, so right now we are in our outreach, what we call outreach, kind of reaching out to customers and well underway of letting them know when we want to basically add them to our program. And then also the kind of designing part of it. And then the plan is to, we don't have an exact date yet, but the plan is for next year to really get into some of the areas that we have. I do know that we're looking like in kind of the Turnpike out west in the Gatlin area. And then not far from here, you have Florestan, kind of PSL Boulevard along the river or port.
Yes,
I learned something
the
new.
port that does go to the ocean.
Yes.
It is a long boat ride, but it does go to the ocean. Very good. So major throughways, and I can tell, because I live on a canal, or, that is always hard hit because the wind just comes through those areas like crazy. There's not enough defense against the wind, so we lose power quite a bit. Makes sense. Is there going to be a place online where they can check to see what the plan is when you get the plan completely ready and in place and public consumption?
So we don't have actual public list, but there is an online website that you can go to kind of learn more information about our program and just really kind of any general information that you want to know about undergrounding, the way our company approaches it. And, we also, certain the people that are actually on the projects that we're doing, we have kind of fact sheets that we'll send out, just giving them more kind of information, because our community, our customer experience is very important on our projects. So we really go all above and beyond to make sure that we are communicating well to our residents and our customers.
Good. And so FPL.com, and it's not Florida Power and Light, it's just FPL.com. And where at once you get there, because that is a vast website.
So you can go to FPL.com/SSUP.
What does SSUP stand for?
So SSUP stands for Storm Secure Underground Program.
Ah, SSUP, love it. SUP.
Sup?
SUP.
So good. We had to put two S's to it, so it's like sup.
SUP. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There you go. Not hard to remember. Love it. Perfect. Well, thank you for being with us today to tell us a little bit about that. And when we take a break, we'll see if people have some questions for you. So don't take off. And when we do our question and answer period, maybe we'll talk to you a little bit more.
Awesome.
All right.
We're looking forward. It's very fulfilling work that we're doing. And I'm actually a resident of Port St. Lucie for 30 plus years. So it's a good feeling. We talked about some of the growth that's happening within this area, and for me to be an adult now and have a family, I'm just happy along with our team to be able to provide this to our customers. It feels real nice.
That's nice. Did you graduate from high school here?
I went to Fort Pierce Central.
Very nice. It's nice to grow our own. We love it when you stay here and raise
Yes,
your
ma'am.
family. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with Jen Davis from, we're going to talk more about the port. All right. Stay with us.
Thank you.
We're back, and we're back without Terissa, but she's still in the back. So we're back, and she's in the back. So Jen Davis, who is our CRA director for the city of Port St. Lucie, CRA, you gotta love acronyms, right? Community Redevelopment Agency. So that is what she is over, and this is one of the areas, the Port District, which was renamed how many years ago?
3 years ago.
About 3 years ago. We move really fast in Port St. Lucie, anywhere. But we're going to have the Pioneer Park Playground. We are going to have an event lawn, the historic homes, which I would like to have Patricia talk a little bit about if we have time, the Riverfront Restaurant, and the boardwalk. If you've noticed, the boardwalk goes all the way to the bridge at Port St. Lucie Boulevard and is continuing under to connect with Veterans Park on down. And that took the longest time. And of course, that was another federal state agency, Florida Department of Transportation, but we won't go there. But we got approval.
Right.
It's in the process.
Yes.
And I'm going to hand it over to Jen to give you an update on what's going out. And you see the gators out there, my favorite.
Yep.
But yeah.
So
okay.
good morning, everyone. I do want to provide you just an overview of kind of the Port District. We talk about putting the port in Port St. Lucie. This area was formerly called the Riverwalk District, and about 3 years ago, we did a branding project where we gave it a heart and gave it an anchor here for the Port District. So I did bring in a few boards for those of you that are here in person. The larger board actually shows an overview of the entire Port District. So we did a master plan about 2 years ago that kind of reimagines what this district can be. And the part that we're in right now on the south end with the playground and the event lawn and historic homes is really the anchor of that district, but it does go all the way up to Lingate. So if you can imagine the corridor up Westmoreland onto Veterans Memorial Parkway, all the way up to where the ball fields are at Lingate. So we have a lot of opportunity in that section of the Port District that we'll be working on over the next few years. We'll be requesting from council some capital improvement funding for those projects, and we'll also be looking for grants. So the great thing about recreation projects in the Port District is that they do lend themselves to a lot of grant opportunities with both the state and local agencies. So we're excited about that. So on the left map that I did bring is our kind of a concept rendering of the Port District here on the south end. So we have our park. So we'll start with Pioneer Park Playground. And this is an amazing, I think for a long time we called it our WOW playground. Wow. But it really is just a one-of-a-kind. It was developed just for the city of Port St. Lucie. These are not off-the-shelf playground components. I know sometimes playgrounds get open, and we call them the Crayola playgrounds, that they just have kind of the basic off-the-shelf components, but these were specifically designed for us. So we do have about a 43-foot alligator that you can climb inside, on top of, around. We have also a river schooner, so we call that, let me go back, I'm sorry. The alligator is called Gator Gulch, is the name of that play area. And then we have the Sail Away Schooner, and that's geared towards our 2 to 5 year olds. Little known fact, I think we brought this up at a prior coffee with the council, is that one of the James Bond movies was actually filmed along the river here, the river chase scene for the movie Moonraker. So that's kind of like our fun, I guess, claim to fame on Hollywood, is that we did have a James Bond.
I was here when that was being filmed.
Yeah, so we do have a schooner on the river, not a speedboat, but and then we have the Peacock Playhouse, which is a small playhouse in a very large sand area that will allow the children to create different sand components and build things. We named it Peacock Playhouse because it will overlook the Peacock historic homes, which Patricia will come up and talk about in a few minutes. So we really wanted to tie some of these elements in together. And as we swing around the back of the playground, we do have a 6-foot chalk wall on one side. It's about 40 feet long, but 6 feet tall. And on the north side, so the side that faces the Botanical Gardens, is going to be a living wall. And we're super excited to partner with the Botanical Gardens on how that wall faces the Botanical Gardens and kind of ties in together. So as you loop around, we do have Swing and Swirl Slough, which is our swing area, and we have a carousel, kind of a small carousel that's ADA compliant in there. And then we have Pioneer Perch, and that's one of those very large kind of spider web climbing components that kids can get up on. I just stand at the bottom and watch the kids climb to the top, but you can get up there and get a really cool view of the playground. And in the center of the entire playground is Banyan Basin, and that's our interactive water play area. It is it was free form built, so when we do get a chance to share some of those images, which I believe are online, it's just a beautiful piece. It was meant to replicate the kind of rock formations at Wickham Beach out at right out here on the island. So they went out, kind of took a mold of what the rocks out there look like, and then they recreated those for the playground. And that's one of the playgrounds that you could anybody could walk through. You might get misted or get a little water jet on you, but it's not meant to be an immersive experience, more of kind of a cool down experience. So that kind of wraps up the playground area. We do have a Harmony Hideaway tucked in there that'll have some musical instruments so the kids can play various instruments as they work their way through. And then as you come out of the playground area, if you are headed towards the river, you'll actually pass through the event lawn. So we understand the importance of river nights. If anybody's been to river nights at the this location before we were under construction, great event put on by our Parks and Recreation Department that runs from October to April, I believe. And right now, I think it was, in the interim, it was held up at Veterans at Rivergate at the boat ramp. But we'll be holding those events here. We anticipate holding additional events at this location. It's going to be a really beautiful lawn. We have a lookout hill in there. So one of the lawn features is not just that it's a big open grass area, but we have an area that goes up to about a 20-foot elevation. So kind of a rolling hill that you can go up and look and get some really great views of the entire park and look out to the river.
That's almost like a mountain in Florida.
It is like a mountain, lookout mountain. Maybe that's what we should have called it. So we're working on that right now. And then I did take the opportunity to overlay what we call our latest concept rendering from our restaurant developer P3 on the image. So as Councilwoman Morgan mentioned, they're developing a restaurant that will have kind of a main restaurant that will have a second floor to it for kind of a lookout, area. I think it'll have bar services maybe on the second floor, so you could enjoy those sunsets from the second floor. And then it has what they call a quad. So as Councilwoman Morgan mentioned, we've got 4 buildings. So if she and I want to go to lunch and she wants a burger and I want to have pizza, I can go to the pizza place, grab lunch, she can grab her burger, and then we can go dine together outside. So deconstructed food hall, kind of, open food court area, just really a nice concept.
I'm going to have the ice cream.
The ice cream. Good to know. So one of the things we're working with the restaurant developer is with their landscape architect, because they want this area to be super lush with landscaping. And we met here last week with them and also the Botanical Gardens to kind of, understand how do we make these two elements go together. So I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how everything kind of ties together in the end. And then as you work your way over to the river, we do have the boardwalk that was existing. We had built that a couple years ago. They are building an overwater stage right now. And then as Councilwoman mentioned, we have just gotten approval for a contract amendment that will be coming before council to grant the contract award for the boardwalk connection under Port St. Lucie Boulevard. So that's, for me and the CRA, that's one of the biggest questions I get is, when are we connecting the boardwalk? And we are connecting it. So we're super excited that people will have an experience along the river. It's about a mile that you'll be able to walk along the river by the time it's all done. And then beyond that, as I mentioned in the Port District, we're going to have trails all the way up to Lingate. That'll eventually tie in with our East Coast trail system, the Greenway. And then as you come south off of the Port District, we do have a project that we are working on for wilderness, so just south of here. And so we have a lot of opportunities for pedestrians and bikes and things like that to get out and really enjoy nature. So I think that kind of that's the north and south of the Port District, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? No. Oh,
No
she's
question-
like, no.
no
We're
questions.
We're out of time.
Sorry.
But we're going to keep going real quick. The historical homes.
Mm-hmm.
So the historical homes are in place, being worked on, and projected to be turned over to the Historical Society.
Later this year, hopefully. I feel like Patricia might have asked you for that question.
No, she didn't.
So yes, we do have a contractor who's been actively working on restoring the Peacock Lodge, which is the building that you see that's painted a redwood stain color. As with any historic restoration, there's some things that pop up during construction that weren't anticipated. So what they are working on right now is there was a little bit of a lag on the western roof line from when they moved the buildings from out west to this location. So they're working on restoring that. We want to make sure that we have a good structure that we're handing over. And I'll let Patricia go into the details of everything they're going to do inside, but every inch of that building inside and out will have been restored when we do hand it over to them. So we're super excited about that.
Anything you want to add? Oh, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Council. I'm Terissa Aronson. I am back. We just heard from Jen Davis from the CRA, and of course, Councilwoman Morgan did a great job of talking to her and about the plans for the port. I'm going to introduce Patricia Christensen. She is the co-chair of just chair. You're not the co-chair anymore.
If I'm doing the work, please give me the title.
Okay, so yeah, I know I missed a meeting, but I am on the board. I don't remember you becoming co-chair, but okay, I did miss a meeting, so now you're just chair, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What happened to Wade?
He's vice chair.
Oh, Wade's vice chair. Okay. All right. Very good. Take a mic. It's all right. All right. So they got to be able to hear you at home when they're watching this programming. All right. So, and the reason why we brought Patricia up is because she's been working on getting the Peacock home ready to be the Port St. Lucie Historical Museum, because we don't have one, right? We have our St. Lucie County Regional Historical Museum at the foot of the bridge in Fort Pierce, but this will be our Port St. Lucie Historical Museum. We're excited about that. So tell us about the plans for that.
Well, we're ready to go when the city gives us the keys. We actually were granted a lease by the city a few years ago, and jokingly, I had a meeting with Jen about a month ago and said, we're going to be coming in for a lease extension before we even get in there, but that's okay. I mean, it's given us time to get organized, and but over the last few years, we've been planning what we'll use the building for. So the lodge, which is the one-story building that's currently under construction, will be used as the Port St. Lucie Museum and Education Center. We'll have a couple of offices in there for our volunteers who are actually spending a good amount of time archiving boxes and boxes of material that we've gathered over the years. Residents who have lived here for a number of years, when they clean out their attics, they clean out their closets, they find all of this historical information that they share with us. Some of them have donated it, some of them have just loaned it, where we're doing a lot of scanning in. And actually, we have archiving software so we can keep track and keep a good organizational record of the items that we've got. Then since the museum, or I should say since the buildings were moved here and word got out that it was eventually going to be a museum, we've been contacted by many residents who, again, cleaning out or downsizing and moving on, have offered to donate furniture and items. And we still are accepting items, but we're looking for items between 1930 and 1955. That there's not a lot of that out there. When it comes to items from when the city was actually incorporated in 1961 up to current, there's a bountiful amount of that, so we're getting a little bit picky and choosy over what we will take as donations. But we actually have furniture that was donated to us by a family that lived here. They moved here in the late 60s. And the mom was an antique collector, and when she passed away, her family donated all of her antiques, and they all are in the period that eventually, when the two-story house, which is the actual Peacock house, is renovated and ready for use, we can furnish that whole house with the exception of the kitchen. They donated dining furniture, bedroom furniture, living room furniture. We have a cradle from the late 1800s. So it's really exciting to see. I mean, even bed linens and curtains and tablecloths from that era as well. So it's really exciting to see it all kind of come together. The lodge, which was built in the 1950s, which is going to be used as the historic museum. We will be using that for displays. We've got some ladies now that are starting to plan on the type of displays that we will have that will help educate visitors and newer residents and just about anybody that comes to the area as to how Port St. Lucie was formed when it was incorporated and how it has grown. Because even though we are only 62, 63 years old, it's amazing what has happened here. If you came in the 60s like Stephanie did, Port St. Lucie Boulevard didn't even go past where the bridge is. And it was a 2-lane road, and then they continued the road out to the turnpike and then moved west, and the down $10 a month. We have so much information that residents have actually collected that we have newspaper articles, magazine articles advertising that. So it's really exciting, and the different things. And what's really fun is I even spend time once in a while going on eBay, because there are residents that have historical stuff that go and auction it off on eBay. And I have acquired a number of historical items from what was Club Med, was actually originally known as the Port St. Lucie Hilton. And so I've got ashtrays and matchbooks and different things from when that hotel actually was there. It was, yes, it was a country club with a golf course, and we had, even though their names, that some of them I was very young and didn't find very appealing, but we had Debbie Reynolds and Perry Como and
Yeah, a lot of
stuff,
famous
yes,
people came through
come
there.
here, playing in golf tournaments. and
Tell
stuff.
everybody where those houses came from. I mean, we talk about the peacock houses,
So-
but it's interesting how they got here. Yes.
They've traveled. So the 2-story house, the Peacock House, was actually built in Fort Pierce by the Peacock family, and it was constructed on Orange Avenue. And then in the early 50s, it was relocated out onto a piece of property off of Range Line Road, and subsequently the lodge was built adjacent to it. And what's kind of quirky is the fact that it wasn't actually in the city limits until the city annexed out into the Tradition area up to Range Line Road, which took place in the mid-2000s, 2004, 2005. So it got here roundaboutly. As much as it wasn't my decision, I followed some of the council meetings when they discussed whether they would actually take possession of the houses and make them part of what is going to be the city museum. It was still Port St. Lucie, and it was the age of the Peacock House that really convinced them to take it and restore it, because we want our residents who haven't maybe even come here or been born to see what life was like even in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, before Port St. Lucie actually became a city.
So it's interesting that Stephanie lived in the model home for the Mackle brothers, and I used to own one of the 3 model homes for the GDC development. However, they are still not in the city; they're in the county. And they were very interesting. But at one point I was going to donate them, but nobody wanted them because they're in the county. But it has a coral front. One of them has the coral front, which is completely illegal and unique. And when we opened up the wall to renovate, they were full of cardboard paper. Mm-hmm. That's how they built the houses, the GDC.
Oh, there's other really quirky stories about some of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
GDC houses.
That
but-
was their.
Mackle brother was pure concrete. Oh, it was pure concrete. I mean, all the interior walls were all CBS.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I'd asked a friend of mine to come hang a picture, and he goes, "Oh, I'll just get a nail and a hammer." And I go, "No, you won't. I need a drill," because every interior, and of course, no AC.
Yeah.
Terrazzo floors.
Oh, yeah. So
Love terrazzo floors.
We had terrazzo floors in ours too. There was a safe in the floor that had been locked for decades, but it was interesting to me, the walls were not. So Mackle Brothers did all block. GDC did construction paper and pretty much cardboard with paint on it. And oddly enough, they weren't full freight, 2x4s. They were shorter and thinner. So it was really tough renovating that house, which was partly why
24-inch centers instead of 12-inch centers.
And jealousy windows.
Yeah, it was a challenge. So we finally sold it because it was just too hard to deal with. And it really, I mean, it was kindling basically in the walls for the GDC home, but yeah. All right, well, I want to thank Pat for being with us today. Patricia, sorry, I've been calling her.
We accept memberships to help support the organization. It's only $25 for an individual membership, but the big fundraiser that we're doing to ensure that that museum stays operational is we are building a brick patio between the two buildings. We've got about 6,000 bricks to sell. They're $100, and you can go on our website and order a brick, and that way you become part of Port St. Lucie's history. Website is pslhistory.org.
Relatively inexpensive to cement your name forever in history. So yes, we would definitely want people to do that. I always think that it's just $25 a year. Let it be part of your community service to join, because we're going to try to run that museum with volunteers, which is going to be very difficult. So we're going to need funds for sure. All right. Well, we are thankful for everybody for hanging out with us. We are going to take some questions for Councilwoman Morgan and anybody else that has questions for anybody. But we are finished with the filming portion of our show, and I want to remind you that if you want to come down and join us, ask questions, enjoy the coffee and pastries from Steamworks, we are at the Community Center every third Tuesday of the month at 8:30. It's free and open to the public. A big thank you to Mid-Florida Credit Union for being our sponsor and have been for several years. Thank you, Michael. Today's coffee was excellent. We appreciate that, and all of you for coming. Until next time, everybody, have a great day.